I'm Jessica Mikowski, mindset coach, co-founder of Yogi Triathlete, and host of the Awake Athlete podcast. Welcome to Season 6, The Road to El Cruce. This season is a living documentary, my journey to a 3-day 100K stage race through the wild terrain of Patagonia. It's not just about endurance training, it's about exploring the mental, emotional, and spiritual edges that shape us. There's no set schedule. Episodes will drop as the layers peel back. My hope is that in hearing my story, you remember your own strength and your own path home. This is me showing up in real time, and I am all in. I'm so glad you're with me. Welcome to episode 3, My Road to El Cruce. This is the place where I'm journaling this journey in real time. Oh man, sharing the mindset, the training, the daily life of preparing for this 3-day ultra through the Andes, which is happening this December. And it's really cool. I just love having these like kind of huge things because not only is it a mountain ultra, but I'm going to Argentina for the first time. Like I get in and, at like night, and then I'm going to drive to this village, and that really excites me. It kind of keeps me awake. So there's lots of details that need to get pulled together. You have to have your feet on the ground. You have to book your Airbnb. You have to get your rental car. You have to, figure out where you're going once I get to the airport and once I land there and navigate it. And I just love that. It's all a part of the adventure. And same thing like when I do an Ironman, if I'm traveling and I have to pack my bike, like I get so excited about that. Like I make it a part of the experience, a part of the adventure. I love that you have to travel with your bike and there's unknown there and trust. And, it's like the adventure really is yoga. Like the adventure itself, it requires trust. It requires organization. It requires you to be grounded and present. It requires you to dream big. I love all those things. So that's why we're here. All right. So how's my training going? I think it's going really well. I think we're doing a lot of good day-to-day shifts depending on how my body is showing up. Some areas, after some workouts or after like repetitive days of just load will take a little bit longer to adapt, and we're giving that space. I'm able to do that now without worry. Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, my ankle is really stiff. Like, am I going to be able to do like 3 days? And I'm like, it's the middle of the night. You don't have to do anything right now except for go back to sleep and relax and let your body adapt to the stress you're putting it under. And that's been practiced over many years. Believe me, there were many times I'm just up in the middle of the night, like eyes wide open, totally panicked about whatever it is, an injury, money, something that my husband didn't do that he said he was going to do. And that can be brutal and it's real, right? But I also think that that's such a necessary piece of mindset training is those times where the mind just runs and it loves to do it in the middle of the night. And maybe I'll do a episode with a little more in-depth information on sleep because it is super important. But I also think that we need to understand there's a lot going on when we sleep and how to set ourselves up for good sleep. And what do you do when you wake up in the middle of the night and the mind is racing? So let me know if you want to hear that. I think I'm going to dive into it regardless, because I think that's a really good topic. Okay. I'm deep into this next phase, and I think we've made some really smart tweaks where we're increasing the running, specifically on the trails. And the goal is still like day to day, watching the body, watching the mind always. The strength is paying off. I think it's paying off big time. And I like the way it feels, quite honestly. I like the way it feels. Like my core feels really solid. My arms feel solid. My shoulders feel like things are good. Yeah, so I'm just kind of syncing up with the rhythm of training and the race and of life. So life has been super consumed these days with the Tour de France. And, these stages are really long, and I love cycling. I absolutely am so addicted to these events, specifically the Grand Tour events. So what's a Grand Tour? There's 3 Grand Tours every year. There's the Giro d'Italia in the spring. There's the Tour de France. And then there's the Vuelta de España, which is in August. And it's a grand tour because it's 3 weeks, 21 stages. And it's just insane. It's skill in action. It's total mastery. And they still have opportunities. And that's what I love. It's like that level of cycling and that level of athleticism is so freaking high, but they're still having highs and lows. So it's not ever going to be about not having highs and lows. That's just the way this life is, and the environment in which we live in, like society and humans. And it's always going to be bringing highs and lows because there's so much going on around us that we can't control. But that is mastery. Like mastery is a moment to moment process. It's not denying anything. It's like, it's the full integration of it all. So I love the Tour de France for so many reasons. That's just a few. But one of the things I love about the broadcast, and the broadcast I'm watching right now is with Anthony McCrossan and Nicholas Roach. Those are the commentators, and they're just incredible. But they do this thing where team radio comes on, and you can hear the sports directors, sometimes some of the cyclists, but the sport directors in the cars talking to the team. There's so many layers to professional cycling, especially in these grand tours, team tactics, and 21 races within one big race, and different races within that culminate to a jersey, the yellow jersey, the green jersey, the polka dot jersey, the white jersey. It's really cool. So team radio came on the other day when I was on the trainer, and it was Israel Premier Tech. It was the sports director for that team. And he said, have your body in the mindset to race. So at the beginning of each of these stages, there's a neutralized section. And that's a section where they're just kind of getting out of town, where they're not racing, right off the line. It would be way too dangerous because this tour is such a spectacle that every beginning is, there's ceremony and all of that. So they have the race official car out in front of all the riders, and that car leads them out for a certain amount of Ks, right? 6K, 10K, 3K, depending on when it is safe to kind of open up the race. And then depending on what kind of stage it is, sometimes there's a breakaway right off the beginning, people breaking away from the peloton, which is the main pack, all these different things that can happen. So it was during the neutralized part of this race, and it just hit me. Not because they're racing yet, right? It's like, it's the moment before. They're not attacking. They're not they are on the clock, but it's not fully opened yet for the riders to express the race within their performance. So they're preparing in the most important way. They're setting their internal state. They're aligning their body and mind. That's what he was telling them to do. He was telling them to clean up whatever's still hanging out there that doesn't serve, so that when it's go time, you are already in it. One of the things my teacher has taught me is that we are always training ourselves. We're always training ourselves. Our cells are always listening to our words and our thoughts, like our self-talk, essentially. Always listening. It's listening as we put it into different environments. But for this story and for this episode, let's keep it to the body is always listening to the mind. So it will follow. And I guess I could use this akin to the example of visualization and why visualization works. So visualization works a couple of reasons. One, because as you're imagining something, you're using your faculty of imagination, which is a faculty of your mind. You're using the faculty of imagination to see something, to put yourself into a situation that I would hope, like as we visualize consciously, we're doing it in a situation that, we desire. So we're seeing something happening. Now, when we do that, we are activating our brains are activating. They are sending neurons down pathways, okay, in order for this imagination and this vision to really come to life for you in that moment. And so once a set of neurons goes down a specific pathway, it's the law of facilitation, it'll be easier for it to go down. So you're pre-paving the brain. In this example with the sports director, he was telling them to pre-pave the body so that there's no it's the race. It's like they're already in the race when the race officially begins, right? The neural pathways are already prepped there for that day's performance. The other reason why visualization works is that although it's not happening in reality, it's happening within you. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between it happening while you're sitting on your meditation cushion, or if you're in the neutralized zone of stage 19 of the Tour de France. It doesn't know the difference between you prepping it essentially and it actually happening. So when you actually get to the reality of it, there's no hesitation because the subconscious mind, which is really like, it's like the title sponsor for the reasons and the energy behind you doing anything from thinking, speaking, or acting. That part of you is like, oh yeah, no big deal. We've already done this. So it's pre-paved, it's visualized, it's already done. And I loved that he used these words, have your body in the mindset to race. When we look at the body and the mind from a yogic perspective, yogic philosophy, the body is mind. The body is mind. We know there's a correlation from modern science, right? But think about it. Like, let it sit with you. If the cells are always listening to the mind, there's no separation there. We hear these stories about people who have healed themselves. I think Dr. Joe Dispenza is one of the most compelling stories that I've heard when he was struck by a car in a triathlon, and he was in the hospital, and they were telling him he was never going to walk again because he had broken his back pretty severely. He lied in that hospital bed and visualized every single one of his vertebrae healing perfectly. And he would start like, at the base of his sacrum and move up, and maybe he'd only get like a couple vertebrae, and then his mind would be like, oh, you're never going to walk. Like, what are you doing? This is so stupid. And he would just start again. And he was basically getting his body in the mindset to be healed. Really, really cool stuff. If you don't know Joe Dispenza, I mean, you probably do, but check him out. He's, leading meditation teacher, does these insane retreats and all that stuff. I think one of the things I love about Joe is that he speaks to it from a scientific level. So I think it's really helpful for the intellect to understand that modern science has shown these things that, from my perspective, the yogis were telling us thousands and thousands of years ago. And for me, like, I just want to go to the source. So modern research is awesome, and science is amazing, and neuroscience is amazing. And I'm so grateful that they keep unrolling these discoveries about the power of the mind and our ability to train it and our ability to remap the brain. But that's not my destination for knowledge. Like, I'm going back thousands of years when they were telling us the very things that we are discovering or have yet to discover. So whatever resonates, there's not one that's better than the other. If you're someone that hooks into that more intellectual, like neuroscience explanation, because obviously I talk about that as well. And it is an important piece. It does help my intellect settle into the reasoning of why this stuff works. Follow what resonates for you. There's not one that's better than the other. You don't have to go to yogic philosophy to learn about how to train the mind if modern neuroscience makes more sense to you. I hope, my intention is that you're getting a bit of both through this podcast. So pick and choose, and always take what resonates and leave the rest. Overall, this is what I'm talking about here, is training with intention. That's what endurance is about. When I would say always, when you're going for a goal, don't show up to every session just to throw down. Be in the training, be the training, right? When we are the training, we're in it. We are it, fully present, receptive, even on the recovery days, maybe especially on the recovery days. And definitely when the body is tired, and definitely when the mind says, I don't want to do it. It's about alignment, true alignment. You got to watch the mind like a hawk, because it is so good at coming up with reasons not to do something or do something. So you have to tap into that inner compass that says, this is the way and I'm going, right? We want to respect the mission. So for me right now, it's not about blasting hard workouts every day. It's about, getting my body or maintaining my body in the mindset to train. My nervous system knows we're in it. My spirit knows what we're doing here. And every day from swim to trail to rest, it's an opportunity for me to deepen that presence so that what I'm doing is skill in action. That's one of the things I love about professional cycling. I mean, the way that they handle these bikes, they're hopping curbs, they're avoiding road furniture. They're in high speed 60K an hour sprints, bunch sprints, and they're elbowing each other and bumping into each other, and they're staying upright on the bike. The mastery over that instrument is just amazing. So this episode is for any of you guys that are training for something big, whatever that is. And your big might be a 5K, your big might be a 250-mile race. Or maybe it's just for anyone just trying to show up for themselves right now. The invitation is to bring that Tour de France wisdom into your life. What would it feel like to be in the mindset to race, to be in the mindset to train, even when you're not racing yet? What would it change about the way you move, rest, eat, and think? Get your body in the mindset to train, and the results will follow. And they'll follow with a lot more ease and flow. It's the training that comes from the inside. And the more that we do that, we train not just with intention, but with intuition. And we can see when the mind is trying to play tricks or games or lay down excuses or reasons to not do something or to do something, that intuition, which is learning from within. So it's intention and intuition, I think, are these ideal companions for endurance training. And of course, as with everything, it always transcends the swim, bike, run, hike, whatever it is that you're doing, and flows into your relationships. But the most important one is that one with yourself. And never will you find a transformation in a relationship in this life than the one with yourself when we start to live in a way that's awake. And so I will just throw down this little warning here. When you start to live awake, it's incredible, really seeing your thoughts and hearing your words and watching how you move through the world and being okay with oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Oh, wow. So many of those moments in my life where we're really seeing. It's such a blessing because, as I said in the first episode, it's just such a fast track to mastery of the body, of the mind, of our sport, of our life. And then it's also just, it's such a curse and it's so hard because you do see everything. And it's so easy to point fingers and blame, but then you just turn that finger back on yourself and you're like, oh my God, there it is again. But it's incredible because it's that fast track, and endurance sports allows us to have those moments where we have to get real with ourselves. And as we train the mind, we can look at things with a lot less judgment, and we can look at things with a lot more power. Like, I have the power to get my body in the mindset to train, or get my body in the mindset to race. So sit with that. That's episode 3. Let me know what else you want to hear. Thanks so much for all the feedback on the nutrition. I'm actually sitting here sipping my Bloom right now. If you didn't hear that episode 2, go back, have a listen. And thanks so much for being on this journey. Love having you by my side. This show is brought to you by Yogi Triathlete, because you were born for more than just pushing through. We've been leading the way in holistic performance since the beginning. Body, mind, and spirit. So thanks for tuning in. Stay awake, stay the course, and I'll meet you back here soon.